Welcome, grade 7, to our fourth session. Our topic for this morning is about simple past and past perfect tense. So after discussing this module, you will be able to communicate by using the correct simple past and past perfect tenses of the verb. Specifically, you should be able to A. Identify past and past perfect tense. B. Supply past form of some regular and irregular verbs. C. Pick out verb phrases in the past perfect tense from the given sentences. And D. Construct sentences using past tense and past perfect tenses. So this will be our guide as we go on to our discussion this morning. Let us first discuss the past tense of regular verbs. Do you enjoy talking with your friends about your past experience? How about sharing actions or dramatic scenes from your favorite movie? Do you know that the action words you are using are in the past tense? So read the passage carefully and enjoy learning. This passage entitled The Zoo by Larry M. Lynch. Last Wednesday, we decided to visit the zoo. We arrived the next morning after we breakfast, cashed in our passes, and entered. We walked toward the first exhibits. I looked up at the giraffe as it stared back at me. I stepped nervously to the next area. One of the lions gazed at me as he lazed in the shade while the others napped. One of my friends first napped, then banged a tempered glass in front of the monkey's cage. They howled and screamed at us as we hurried to another exhibit where we stopped and caught and plumped birds. After we rested, we headed for the petting zoo, where we petted woolly sheep who only glanced at us, but goats butted each other and nipped our clothes when we ventured too near their closed pen. Later, our tired group nudged their way through the crowded paths and exited the gate. Our car bumped, jerked, and swayed as we dozed during the relaxed ride home. So, let us answer the activity. This activity entitled Animals in Action. So answer the given questions in the complete sentence. So number 1 question, who visited a zoo? Number 2, what did the friends do last Wednesday? Number 3, which of the animals mentioned in the story nipped their clothes when they were too near the closed pen? Number 4, why did the monkeys howl and scream? Number 5, write down at least 5 past action found in the passage. So when we are talking about an action that has happened in a specific time in the past, you will need to use the simple past tense. However, before you can begin using this tense, it is important to learn the rules in using it. As with any part of English grammar, the rules of simple past tense should be applied each time it is used to form grammatically correct sentences. In this section, you are going to learn how to do this effectively. So, by the way, what is a simple past tense? The simple past tense shows that an action started and completed in the past and has no relevance to the present time at all. It can also be used to describe how someone felt, what their emotional condition was, at a point in the past. There were no forms of verb to be or to have, or was and were, with this tense as there are with others. Example, walk, visited, decided, look. Okay, this time you will learn the simple past tense structure. So simple past tense structure. Okay, let us start with the regular verbs. So, simple past tense with regular verbs. Verbs have different forms called tenses. The tense of the verb tells us when the action happens. We use the simple past tense to talk about things that happened in the past. So the things that happened in the past is the past tense of the verb. So example of this, number 1, last Wednesday, we decided to visit the zoo. So notice the underlined word. Number 2, we walked toward the first exhibits. Number 3, I looked up at a giraffe as it stared back at me. So the underlined words are decided, walked, and looked. So we will know what are their functions as we go on with our slides. So for most verbs, the simple past tense is created by adding d, ed, or ied at the end of the word. These are called irregular verbs. The following are some of the rules of regular verbs. So for verbs ending in e, add d. So example, in the present tense, so these are the verbs in ending in e. So live, love, date, agree, and care. So when we are going to transform this into a past tense, so the live becomes lived, love become loved, date becomes dated, agree become agreed, care become cared. So remember that the verbs ending in e that belongs to regular verbs, you just add d. So let's answer the exercise. Okay, write the correct form of the verb found inside the parentheses. Okay, the Filipinos welcome the foreign people with warm smile. So transform welcome into past, simple past tense. Number 2, the students practiced their dance yesterday. Number 3, Tom invited us to his birthday party last Wednesday. Number 4, I love my teacher. Number 5, Tessa serves snacks to all visitors. So notice that the sentences are happened in the past. So all you have to do is to transform the verb inside the parentheses into simple past tense. So remember the first rule, when the verb ending in e, so you just need to add d. So number 2, for verbs ending in consonant y, change y to I and add ed. Examples in the present tense, the verbs are try, carry, dirty, and hurry. So, and transforming this into past tense, the try becomes tried, carry becomes carried, dirty becomes dirtied, hurry becomes hurried. So, the rule for number 2 in changing the regular verbs ending in consonant y, you just need to omit y and change it to I and add ed. So, notice the examples, try, so the try was omitted and changed into I, then that's the time you can add ed to make it in the past tense. So let us answer the exercises. So write the past form of the verbs below. So these verbs from the exercises are the verbs ending in y. So remember the second rule in changing simple past tense in regular verbs. So number 1, spy. Number 2, copy. Number 3, try. Number 4, worry. Number 5, cry. So for other verbs, just add ed. So example, in the present tense, the verbs are cross, jump, lift, and allow. So in in transforming these verbs, so you just add ed. So the cross becomes crossed, jump becomes jumped, lift become lifted, allow becomes allowed. So the verbs are added by the word or the letter ed, so to form the present tense into past tense. So let us answer the exercises. So complete the sentences in simple past tense. Number 1, I blanked my teeth. Number 2, Susan blanked to me quietly. Number 3, Daniel blanked his toy. Number 4, the man blanked so fast. Number 5, Thomas blanked me with my homework. So the parenthesis words are the simple past by the present tense form. So all you have to do is to change that and make that as past tense or simple past tense. So the next is the example of time expressions used in the simple past tense. So these are the time expressions used in forming a sentence to simple past tense. So the first is yesterday, hour ago, last weekend, last night, last Saturday, and a year ago. So let us see the examples. The first example is she worked hard last night. So the subject here is she. So the verb worked. So earlier we discussed the transformations of verb into past tense. So work. So you just need to add ed. So she worked hard last night. So the time expressions used in this sentence is last night. So the time expressions expresses that the event happened last night. So it was already in the past form of the verb. Number 2 is the teacher dismissed the class early yesterday. So the subject is the teacher. The verb is dismissed. So dismissed, just add ed, and the time expression used is early yesterday. So yesterday was also in the past form of the verb because it happened yesterday. So after discussing the time expressions used, so you try this. So write the correct simple past tense found inside the parenthesis. My father blank washed his car yesterday. Number 2, they blank study for the exam last night. Number 3, we blank played Mobile Legend a while ago. Number 4, the monkey blank climbed on a tree an hour ago. Number 5, he blank danced on stage with his friends last Saturday. So are you done? So let's proceed to our next slide. So if there is a past tense of regular verbs, there is also past tense of irregular verbs. So have you experienced winning a race? How did you do it? So read and find out the experience of a hare and the tortoise in the story. So we will read a passage again. So this passage entitled The Hare and the Tortoise is written by unknown. So one day, the hare and the tortoise decided to have a race. The hare knew that he could run faster than the tortoise, but the tortoise was more intelligent than the hare. Yes, I will race with you, said the clever tortoise. The tortoise had a clever plan. He found his brothers and sisters, and he told them to wait in different places along the path. The race began. The tortoise ran as fast as possible, but the hare was faster, of course. This will be a very easy race, thought the hare. So the hare decided to have a rest, and he quickly fell asleep at the side of the road. Suddenly, the hare woke up and he saw a tortoise ahead of him. How did he get ahead? How did he get ahead of me? The hare asked himself. In fact, it was not his friend the tortoise, it was the tortoise's sister. But to a hare, all tortoises look the same. The hare ran past and tortoise the hare ran past the tortoise easily. Soon he couldn't see the tortoise, so he sat down and he had another rest. Then the hare got up and continued the race. But as the hare happily came around the last corner before the finish line, his friend the tortoise crossed the line and won the race. So how did you get the story? How do you find the story? Okay, it talks about the hare and the tortoise that decided to have a race. So activity. This activity entitled Race Up. Answer the following question. So number 1, what did the tortoise and the hare decided to do? Number 2, what did the hare do? Number 3, why do you think the tortoise won the race? Number 4, write down the past action in irregular verb found in the passage. So, simple past tense of irregular verbs. So, when we say irregular verbs, these are the common verbs in English that do not follow the simple system of adding d or ed to the end of the word to form the past tense or past participle. There are a number of irregular verbs with different forms, and you will be studying some of them in this section. So, the regular verbs are to form the regular verbs to past tense. Okay, first is you just need to add d or change y to I and add ed and add ed. So in regular verbs, these are the verbs that do not follow the simple system of adding d or ed. So study the sentences in the next slide. So example, the hare sat down an hour ago. So sat is the verb, the past tense of the verb sit. The tortoise won the race. So the word won is the past tense of the verb win. He told them to wait in different places along the path. So told is the past tense of the verb tell. So these are the examples. Okay, these verbs are examples of regular verbs in the past tense. Some of the most common irregular verbs are become, begin, buy, come, cut, do, draw, fall, find, get, go, know, run, throw, and wear. So to make it in a simple past, so become, became, begin becomes begun, buy becomes bought, come becomes came, cut becomes cut, to study, do becomes did, draw becomes drew, fall becomes fell, find becomes found, get becomes got, go becomes went, know becomes knew, run becomes run, throw becomes threw, wear becomes wore. So to make it the past participle, becomes, becomes, become, begin becomes begun, buy becomes bought, come becomes come, cut becomes cut, do becomes done, becomes drawn, fall becomes fallen, find becomes found, get becomes gotten, go becomes gone, know becomes known, run becomes run, throw becomes thrown, wear becomes worn. So these are the irregular verbs that we usually encountered, or these are classified as most common irregular verbs we encountered in everyday life. So get familiar with those words because as we go on with our discussion, we will be discussing each one of them. So since irregular verbs are commonly used, you can see and hear them in almost any types or means of conversation. One good reminder is to familiarize yourself with these irregular verbs through reading books or other reading materials. So in the past perfect tense, how did you keep in touch with your friends in this time of pandemic? Do you still communicate with them? To know what John, Anna, and Mary talk about, read and understand the brief passage below. John had called and asked Anna what time they should meet. When Mary had asked Anna if she wanted to go to dinner, Anna told her that she was busy and had already set an appointment with John. So, let us find out if you really understand the short passage. Answer the following questions. So, number one, what did John do? So, number two, what did Mary do? Number three, what was Anna's answer to Mary? So your answers are examples of verbs in the past perfect tense. You will learn more about the past perfect tense as we go along the module. So past perfect tense expresses the idea that an action happened before another action in the past. Number two, forms by combining had with the past participle of the main verb. So the formula is had plus past participle of the main verb. So this is called a verb phrase. Examples using the past perfect tense of the verb. So number one, John had called Anna when Mary asked her to go out. So the past perfect tense in this sentence is had called. So had plus the past participle. As we discussed earlier, the past participle of call is called. Number two, after Anna had set an appointment, Mary called. So the past perfect tense of this sentence is had set. So had plus past participle form of the verb. Okay, the main verb of this is set. So the past perfect tense of this verb set is still remain set. So let us practice. So write the past perfect tense of the verb inside the parentheses. Example, the storm destroyed the sandcastle that we built. So, to change the build into past perfect tense, so had past participle, build. So the build become built. Number one, my brother ate all the cake that our mother baked. Number two, I could not remember the poem we learned. Number three, the children collected the chestnuts that belonged from the tree. Past perfect tense structure. So past perfect tense is formed by using the word had plus past participle. In order to better understand the past perfect tense, you can use time expression to emphasize the completed action. So some examples of time expressions used with the past perfect tense are first, already, yet, for, since, just, after, before, and until. So example, when Judah went to Palawan, he had written a letter for his mother. So the time expression used in this sentence is when and Had written is the past perfect tense. Had plus past participle form of the verb write, that is written. Number 2, James had arrived at their house before his mother cooked dinner. So had plus past participle is had arrived. So arrive is regular verb, so you just need to add the, and the time expression used is before. Number 3, after Dwight had eaten dinner, he and his brother watched basketball. So the time expression used is after, and the past perfect tense is had eaten. So had plus the verb eat and the form in past participle, that it becomes eaten. Okay, thank you. So if you have questions or clarification, you can contact me at the cell phone number 095566 51413, or you may visit the link guideup.com.school.sims/lcms for the copy of this video. Once again, good morning.